Welcome to Soccer in 60, presented by the Empire Strykers. Get ready for your weekly look at all the pro soccer teams in Greater Los Angeles. We've got all the news and analysis you need, from LAFC and the LA Galaxy to the Empire Strykers, Angel City FC, and Orange County Soccer Club. Now, buckle up and enjoy Soccer in 60.
Yeah, welcome to Soccer in 60, and boy, do we have a great show for you. We've got LAFC playing lights out in the last 8 days. We've got LA Galaxy now knocking it down on the road. We got a great interview that Philly caught up with U.S. International and recent participant in the USA-Mexico match with Brek Shea. Sorry, buddy. We have Amanda the Panda talking LA's Angel City and LA's Best 11. And we have a look forward to the coming week for Orange County Soccer Club. Joining me again is my main man, Philly, back with me today. Philly, how are you, young man?
My man, how do you have the time to do this pod? Don't you have a movie coming out to promote with Lady Gaga? Aren't you in the sequel? You got that DC Comics Willy Wonka hair going on, but I'm all for it. And then again, who am I to say anything? I'm looking like a character fresh off from the film Boogie Nights. But happy Thursday, everyone. Welcome back. It's your local LAOCIE local soccer happy hour. We're beyond thrilled to be here for another exciting and fun show. Thirsty Thursday to nurse that wicked Wednesday that I had last night anyway, but I'm here to roll. And Tim, I love your cup.
Thanks, baby. And here, this is a little shout out to the Oktoberfest. And, we talked a little bit about last week's show about the USA-Mexico game. And me and Nina had a little bet. Well, Timmy lost because USA didn't win the game. And so I went full green kimono today. I've got green hair, baby. So all those people out in Radio Land thinking, can't figure out like I look like Joker, here we are.
There you are. Great. Yeah, Joker in the house. Good luck on the sequel. Lady Gaga will make you look good, buddy.
Yeah, absolutely. She definitely will make me look good. Philly, man, how is LAFC been doing over the last 8 days? I mentioned it in the intro. What's going on with them, man?
I'd say they're feeling pretty damn good about themselves. I mean, just days after winning the U.S. Open Cup, they took a trip to the city of 50 breweries and Skyline Chili. That's Cincinnati, Ohio. Now, the band Hawthorne Heights might have penned a song called Ohio is for Lovers, but that hasn't been the case for LAFC. More like the Land of Sorrows, to be exact, having lost 2 finals to the Columbus Crew recently. Now, the implications for the match: playoffs would be clinched with a win over FC Cincinnati, or if FC Dallas lost or tied against Orlando City. Would LAFC head coach Steve Cherundolo hunt for the 3 points, or load manage the team and use the youngsters? FC Cincinnati already clinched the playoffs. Now, in the history of this rivalry, there really isn't a history to this rivalry, as they've only played each other twice. But FC Cincinnati is a team that has never beaten LAFC. In fact, LAFC are one of the 5 clubs between Vancouver, Sporting Kansas City, Austin, and LA, which Cincinnati has never won, period. But obviously, they are firing on all cylinders. They're number 2 in the East behind Inter Fort Lauderdale, Miami, which just clinched the Supporters Shield, and they've got some really, really talented players. Would it be Pat Noonan, head coach FC Cincinnati, or LAFC getting their 50th MLS regular season win? Well, spoiler alert, it's about to happen. Now, Cincinnati's got one of the best players this league may have ever seen, and that of Luciano Federico Acosta. Now, I'm making him sound like he's Italian, but he's really Argentinian. It's safe to say that he's had a very decent career in this league. If you don't believe me, hear this. 2023 MLS MVP, 2022 top assist provider, MLS Best 11 in 2018, 22, and 23. 3 straight consecutive MLS All-Star appearances. And oh, by the way, the 2023 MLS Goal of the Year. Now, on to the game. This was a highly entertaining matchup that, in my opinion, would test LAFC's resiliency. Cincy is a team that does not lose when they score the first goal of the game. 15-0-1 when that happens. But it did not happen as LAFC in the 34th minute opened up the score. LAFC's we got to give credit to Lewis O'Brien. He was the meat in an FC Cincinnati sandwich covered by defenders Nobodo and Nico Gioacchini, formerly of St. Louis. More on St. Louis later. But he ends up connecting with Kai Kamara. Ball finds its way back to Lewis. He gives it on over to David Martinez, who fires one and beats Cincinnati keeper Roman Celentano, who up to that point, having a great game. David Martinez on fire, having scored 2 goals in his last 3 and now has 4 goals in all competitions. Lewis O'Brien's going to get the dime, his first while at LAFC. Heading into the second half, 61st minute, Tim, oh Dios mío, que golazo, amigo. Luca Orishano with a left-footed shot from outside of the box that just deflects off the noggin of Kai Kamara, and it goes past Hugo Lloris for the equalizer. We are now in uh-oh time. Would LAFC crumble like they did against the Galaxy, or would they show the fight, grit, tenacity, and resiliency needed? Well, the answer is simple. What I just said. 73rd minute, goal for LAFC. And this one is for all you Hugo Lloris haters out there. Take off your Arsenal-tinted lenses, folks. This ain't the North London derby. The distribution is so on point with Hugo and unlike anything that LAFC's ever had. And I'm going to include Maxime Crepeau, Tyler Miller, Kenneth Vermeer, Buba Lopez, Pablo Cisniega, Jamal Blackman, Charlie Lyons. I'm going to leave John McCarthy out of this because I love John. Gets to the ball. Drew would get the tap. Denis Bouanga would dice through defender Ian Murphy going near post from an angle that would make most goal scorers this game has ever seen bat an eye. With that, Denis' second half goal was his 18th of the season. Giroud would get credited with an assist. Hugo would get credited with an assist. And having not had an assist his entire career, playing in North London for the Hotspur, he's got 3 in all competitions for LAFC this year, registering 2 in the League's Cup. LAFC would go on to win the game. Amazing, because they hadn't won an MLS regular season game since August the 31st. That streak is now dead. Couple of fun little notes for y'all. This is the 4th time that LAFC has won 15 games in a regular season. 2018, the inaugural year. 2019, when they won the Supporters Shield. 2022, when they won the Supporters Shield and the MLS Cup. And 2024 has yet to be decided. Steve gets his 50th regular season win and now becomes the second fastest coach to win 50 games since the year 2000, doing so in just 98 games. That is FC Cincinnati. We move on to Wicked Wednesday, which is why I'm wearing these glasses and why I am mildly suffering with a glass of red in my coffee cup. St. Louis, a team that has been eliminated from the playoffs with nothing to play for other than pride. Like Cincinnati, St. Louis has never defeated LAFC. In fact, they have never scored a goal against LAFC, and they still would not do so last night. They did come into Wednesday in a BMO, where LAFC has their home ground, with a better run of form, having only lost 1 in their last 5 games. But this wouldn't be their night. Just as stoppage time was upon us, in the first half, Denis with the dagger into the hearts of St. Louis, but this was a total team effort. LAFC forwards were in complete sync with one another. Olivier Giroud, the recipient of a pass from Kike Oliveira. Then he taparoos it to Matty Bogusz, who makes his move, finding Denis the Destroyer. Eat your heart out, Conan the Barbarian. He cuts inside, puts a pair of St. Louis defenders in his back pocket and snipes one past St. Louis goalkeeper Benjamin Ludd, who now makes the score 1-0. That would be the only goal of the game. Giroud would find the back of the net, though, only to be called offside. Lund, who I just mentioned, starting in place for Roman Berkey of St. Louis. I mean, he had several great saves in the second half, keeping St. Louis in there. I mean, he denied Ryan Holling, said he was a solid keeper. I was looking forward to seeing Roman Berkey, the Borussia Dortmund legend, but we would not. And that's really a wrap on the game. With the win, LAFC is now 16-8-7 on the season. 16 wins are tied for the most in club history, while 55 points, what they currently have on the table, 4th most in club's history. 10th win at home, 4th time in 7 years that LAFC has won 10 or more league games at home. Sweeping St. Louis was a nice thing. St. Louis has yet to still not only beat LAFC, but score a goal on LAFC. In second place in the standings. As far as the rest of the season goes, 3 more games. They could finish no lower than 7th, which guarantees a place in at least the round of one best-of-3 series. Denny Bouanga's goal was 19th of the season, 40th of the MLS regular season in terms of goal contributions. Actually, I don't even know if that stat is right. But either way, Denny's got a couple of goals just behind Christian Benteke, who just continues to score. Bouanga's the third player in club history to score 40 or more regular season goals, joining Carlos Vela and Diego Rossi. And this was Denny's 100th game in which he scored 67 goals in all competitions. Vela, the all-time leading scorer in LAFC history, also 67 goals in his first 100 games. Denny Bouanga about to surpass the great Carlos Vela, who does return. Hugo Lloris with his 11th clean sheet. Folks, I know you've already heard me say enough about FC Cincinnati and St. Louis. We got a preview, but there's a reason why I'm stalling on the preview, because we're going to be talking about a team what we've been talking about nonstop the last 2 weeks. LAFC heads on over to the Midwest, to Children's Mercy Park, to face Sporting Kansas City and their blue hell. You don't really need much of a preview, as we've already discussed this team a few times in the past week. What I do know for a fact, without telling you about the players such as Daniel Shalhoub and Alan Polito, that Sporting Kansas City, a team like St. Louis, eliminated from the playoffs, the one thing they will have on their mind more than anything is revenge at that U.S. Open Cup Finals loss. There's your preview. We're playing Sporting Kansas City again. Woohoo. Out of the 3 more games that LAFC has left, only one of them are going to be against a team that's in the playoffs. Sporting Kansas City, not the one. Playing Vancouver at BC Place. BC Place, for me, an acronym short for Bad Carpet Place. Turf in Vancouver. And then finally, ending out the season against the Smurfs of San Jose on decision day, a team that's about to break an MLS record for most goals conceded in a single season. And the final thing I have to say, Tim, before you go off and take care of business, once again, congratulations to Inter Miami, on winning the Supporters Shield. It's amazing how they were able to do that by acquiring such raw, unproven talent with the 50 price that they did it in. And that concludes your LAFC segment. Cheers.
Salud, baby. That was a good one, man. Yeah, so that Sporting Kansas City, they will have nothing except revenge on their mind for the last week. So with that, let's move over to Galaxy, buddy. Galaxy took on the Colorado Rapids just last night, and Calvin Harris anchored the midfield in one of these other crazy 4-2-3-1 lineups. I don't know when these other teams are going to figure it out that you can't put only 2 people at your midfield and have 3 people, 4 people playing up top. But the Galaxy came out with their familiar 4-3-3 and Peck ready to go on the right-hand side, and Ricky Pooch in the midfield on the left. Marco Royce wasn't part of the party as he's got a slight knock. So Greg Vanny talked about that a little later on. But after about 40 minutes of not a lot going on, maybe one good save or two, not a lot of goal scoring opportunities, the Rapids strike first with a nice left footer from a very unlikely source in Connor Ronan. How unlikely, you ask? Well, in 24 games he's played this year, 19 of them starts, he has 1 goal. This one, he takes a left footer from the top of the box, and it's John McCarthy never sees this thing. You look at a couple of the replays, and there's about 4 dudes in front of John McCarthy, and his left foot, as he watches the left footer, and he's flat-footed, goes into the back of the net for a 1-0 Rapids lead. But, hey, Philly, hit that redundant button. Beep. Because in the second half, redundantly redundant. The LA Galaxy come out smoking. Gabriel Peck he's decided to start running rampant in the second half. And inside of 5 minutes, Peck makes the impossible look simple as he takes a Mark Delgado pass and with an off angle inside of the right foot that goes far post over a ankle broken Zach Steffen. It goes into the back of the net. And if it hadn't been gone in the net, Joseph Paintstill was sitting there right on the doorstep to bury it. But he allows Peck to get his goal. And this is where, if you look at this, this is where the speed of Peck really shines through. As the Galaxy split the Rapids high press with the long ball, and Peck runs another 35 yards down the right-hand side. And with only one person back in the midfield to track back, Peck makes them pay, right? And the second half continues this way as Peck gets a great header at midfielder, which is an underrated header, as this guy freaking cranks his neck and heads this ball about 20 yards over to Peck. And he passes to Pooch, who places a perfect shot, lower right corner, and Salt Bay comes out in the celebration, and it's 2-1 G's. And if you don't know who Salt Bay is, he's the salty Turkish guy that puts salt on his forearm and goes down on the steak. So it was a good celebration. I gotta put it to Pooch for that one. The Rapids do come close in the 77th minute, but again, McCarthy comes up big and shuts them down. And then on the third goal, Peck sends a beauty of a through ball to Miguel Berry. And Miguel runs, and again, wide open spaces, right? It looks like Oklahoma out there on the left-hand side. And Miguel, he's got fresh legs. He comes on as a sub, and he's out there, and he makes these guys pay. He makes a little left-handed turn. The defense collapses on him, and he puts a nice, really short pass right to Pooch, and Pooch is at about 17 yards out. And the ball ends up as the same place in the back, same place as the prior goal, resting peacefully in the back of the netting. No salt needed this time as the Rapids are done. 3-1 Galaxy on the road, and if they keep playing like this on the road, it's gonna be amazing. Mark Delgado made his 100th appearance in a Galaxy uni across all competitions. And with 45-second half goals, we've talked about this a bunch on the show. 45-second half goals. The Galaxy lead the league in this category. 66 total goals across the season, 45 of them in the second half. And here's a little fun fact. This includes 15 goals in the last 15 minutes of the second half. So even if you're up by a goal, you better not rest on your laurels, because Pooch and Peck and Paintstill and Jovalic are going to make you pay. Pooch with the brace has got 13 goals on the season. He's right up there with the rest of the guys. And again, you've got 3 guys that have got 10 goals this season, 4 guys with 10 goals, 3 guys with 10 goals and 10 assists. So this is a little different Galaxy team than we've seen over the last couple of seasons.
No question about that, Tim. I mean, you look back at the Zlatan time period. Zlatan scored so many goals by himself. And the Galaxy, while somewhat competitive, not as competitive as this current rendition. You said it, man. They're passing the ball very well, getting a lot of people involved in their offense. So that's a good indicator and a good reason as to why they've been as successful as they have been.
Yeah, just the passing's been on point. And you bring in a guy like Miguel Berry, who's going to start on several other teams in the league. And he's coming off the bench. And this is without Marco Royce, who had a little bit of a knock. Greg Vanny talked about it, that he's going to be a game time decision for the next game coming up. But you have these guys passing like they are, and you got Jovalic and everybody else being able to put the biscuit in the basket. It's going to be really, really tough for these guys to not get to the conference finals and potentially even the finals. So again, next up, Austin has only got 1 win in their last 5, while the Galaxy are sitting at 3 wins in their last 5. Austin keeper Brad Stuver is coming off a match day nomination, as he had an 11 save performance last night. But 11 saves against the Portland Timbers? This is telling me that the defense is a little bit suspect and a little bit more shaky than 6 months ago when they played. And Austin beat the Galaxy 3-0 in Austin. Expect the Galaxy to continue to use their speed, and they're just going to decimate the back line of Austin. I believe that there's going to be a lot of shots on goal. And unless Stuver comes up with another 11 save outing, look for the Galaxy to take care of business this one, especially at home where, let's see, they played 16 games at home and they have results in 15 of them. They only have one loss against 12 wins and 3 draws. Galaxy do not lose at home. Again, Marco Royce is going to be a game time decision, but he will be home be available for their final game against Houston on the 19th, because there is another couple of weeks off after this weekend's game for the Galaxy. And so they're going to have a nice, good rest before they take on Houston, which we all know and love in this town, and we want to knock them out. Also expect to see a lower scoring affair, as Austin in their last 9 games has there been only one of more than 3 goals. So, it'll be tight, but expect a fun one this weekend at Dignity Health Sports Park there, Philly.
Dignity Health Sports Park. Yes. You want to talk about a place of sorrows for opposing teams? You said it. Tough place to play in this season. Galaxy, a tough team to contend against. And it's just interesting how this is a team that you want to talk about resiliency on a championship potential team. This team finds themselves down, and then they continue to claw back, and then not only claw their way back into the game, but come back and find ways to humiliate their opponents. Colorado Rapids are not a bad team. This is a team that we can look forward to seeing in the postseason. But Galaxy gave them a little bit of the Hoosier father, and it's just with the players that you mentioned. The whole thing with Marco Royce, though, is kind of concerning because he does have a history of being injured. My heart goes out to him. He should have been on that 2014 German World Cup team, but he got thrashed prior to it. But he's had a history of injury. Mm-hmm. But without him, I still think this team is very competitive. With him, far more competitive. But without him, to be hot take, I don't even think they really need him to be successful this season.
Right, because they played most of the season without him. I mean, it just adds one more layer to the ability for the Galaxy to decimate opponents. If you could imagine having Marco come into the game in the second half, I mean, come on. It's almost not fair. We talked about Gabriel Peck last week being unreasonably fast. That's unreasonably incredible that Marco Royce could potentially come off the bench for the Galaxy in the playoffs, make everybody look foolish.
Caviar problems. But that's what you need on a team that's built to win now. They are a team that is built to win now. There are a couple of teams in Major League Soccer that are built to win now. But I'm sure people down the 110 in the Carson and the surrounding area, they're thrilled at what they're seeing from their LA Galaxy, because it's been a long time since any of us have seen this kind of performance from the boys out of Carson.
Yep, and fantastic. And with that, let's hop over to the Empire Strykers. We talk a lot about them. You were on the call this weekend out here at Toyota Arena out here in Ontario. How'd things go this weekend, Philly?
It went really well. USA versus Mexico. That was fun. It was a doubleheader between the USA and Mexico. The women's game was interesting because you did have 6 to 8 players representing the U.S. that did compete last year. But the Mexico team that they squared off against was a team that consists of the Chihuahua Savage feminine side. The Chihuahua Savage, for those who don't know, at this point, the most successful indoor soccer team in the Major Arena Soccer League, 2 straight championships. This is their women's team. Not only is it their women's team, but it's also the team that's going to represent Mexico in the 7v7 World Mini Football World Cup that's going to be going on in Croatia in October. So first quarter, the women just absolutely killed the United States. The U.S. finally started finding their footing into the game and then made it competitive. But needless to say, Mexico would win 10-4. That would set up the stage for the men's game. Men's headlined by Marco Fabian and Miguel Ponce of the Empire Strykers. On the Mexican side, on the USA side, we would see the likes of Zach Reggett, the co-Golden Boot winner in MASL, along with Brek Shea. We're going to have an interview with Brek here that Nina and I did in just a moment. It was a very low-scoring game for a while. Mexico would end up winning by a score of 6-3. And a couple of players I want to highlight. Brandon Gomez, who was the starting keeper for Mexico, had a shutout in the first half. He would later sit on for and sub out for the backup keeper for Mexico. But Gomez had a phenomenal half. keeping the United States from any kind of threatening scenarios. And for the U.S., we would see goals by Justin Stinson and Stefan Mijatovic, otherwise known as Meat. They would get on the score sheets. I think there would be, 7 or 8 members of the Empire Strikers between the two sides that would compete in the game. But it was fun, highly entertaining. It was great to be back on the call with my guy, Jonathan Reimer, the doctor. It was great to have Panda on the sidelines interviewing players like Brek Shea and coaches galore. It was just a good time. And this is going to be a precursor to our home opener that's going to be happening. That official announcement will be soon. And I stand corrected thanks to our producer Gunnar. It was 11 Empire Strikers, not 7/8. That's why we have the best damn producer in the industry. But a total sweep by Mexico. And I mentioned Brek Shea. Well, Tim, let's head on over to that interview that Nina and I did with the U.S. men's national team legend himself. To the interview segment of our show here on Soccer and 60, and the guests get bigger and badder and more awesome than ever. Our guest right now, former star of Major League Soccer and the U.S. men's national team, who's coming off his professional indoor soccer debut, having represented the United States in an arena rivalry clash with Mexico in Ontario, and that would be California, not Canada. During his 15-year outdoor career, the Texas native logged well over 250 appearances with FC Dallas. You could tell I'm that excited. I'm fumbling over my own words. Orlando City, the Vancouver Whitecaps, Atlanta United, and finally with Inter Miami, as well as 34 appearances with the Stars and Stripes. In 2013, he scored the winning goal over Panama in the CONCACAF Gold Cup final at Chicago's Soldier Field. I got to tell you, it's an honor to be joined by the one and only Brek Shea. Brek, welcome to Soccer in 60.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Super excited to have you on here. First of all, got to get an idea. What's it like to be Brek Shea these days? Like, you're only a couple years removed from your playing days in MLS. And if I'm not mistaken, you're living with your family in Florida. Like, what does your day-to-day look like when you're not battling for $1 million in North Carolina or representing the U.S. in Southern California?
I'm my kid's Uber driver, currently in my car at soccer practice, and it's every night, whether either at the hockey rink or soccer practice or gymnastics or something. 3 kids that do each 2 sports, so it's a lot between me and my wife.
Athletic family, love to see that. They say the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, so we're probably going to have to keep an eye on those kids. Fingers crossed that you don't have to pay for college, because that gets expensive these days.
Yeah, it does.
Now, I mentioned in the intro, you played for the United States this past Sunday in the arena soccer rivalry clash with Mexico in Ontario. What was it like representing your country at Toyota Arena, and what did you think of the atmosphere, and how did it compare to playing professional outdoor soccer?
Well, I can speak on the playing part. It's definitely different. I don't know. I was telling the guys I felt like a UFC fighter. The way you guys announced people coming out, the music, the girls' game had a rock band in there. Like, it was cool. Like, I really enjoyed it. The playing style. It was a big learning curve. I think I did more thinking than I did playing in there in that game, but I definitely had fun. I mean, the guys were great. I really enjoyed it. I just, if I do it again, I will definitely need some sessions to understand the rotations, the subbing, and the stuff like that. But overall, it was exciting.
So you just touched on something that we're very curious about. When Marco Fabian first joined the Strykers, he said he repeatedly felt like he was back in school, constantly asking questions about the rules and the tactics. So even though you had a little bit of a background in small-sided soccer, that's something you related to?
Yeah, I mean, I felt very confident until we had the morning session walkthrough, and then the coach, Everton, was trying to give me like the tactics on when to come out, and how to play. And I just was like, oh my. And then my head just started spinning. So like I said, I think if I did it again, obviously I'd get better, but I would do less thinking and I'd be able to play more instead of like, am I supposed to sub right now? Or am I doing the right thing? Am I in the right spot? Am I marking the right guy?
Yeah, and you're obviously a very competitive person. We know in this last game, Mexico beat the U.S. 6-3, but it's not quite the same as playing for your senior outdoor national team, let alone in a Gold Cup final. But as a competitor, you're going up against Mexico. What's going through your head, and how does that compare to a game against El Tri in like 11 versus 11?
Yeah, I mean, anytime I guess we would face them on the pitch, it's a big rivalry, and we want to win. And I know the guys wanted to win, and we're disappointed with the result, and kind of I guess how we started the game. I mean, and towards the end, we really started gelling and playing well, and I guess becoming a threat. And it was a little too late, but you win some, you lose some. Hopefully, they get them next year. Yeah.
The rivalry continues, and hopefully maybe we get to see you again playing in the game next year. Now, we've talked about outdoor a little bit. We've talked about indoor. Let's transition on over to memory lane, back to Cary, North Carolina, where you played in the 7v7 soccer tournament last year called the TST. Actually, this past season. Now, TST, for those who don't know, features a number of the best soccer players in the Major Arena Soccer League, as well as some massive former stars of the outdoor game, all of whom battle for the meager amount of $1 million. Now, in 2024, I'm talking about this as if we're in 2025 already. I mean, it is pretty close. You played alongside Strykers forward Stefan Mijatovic, otherwise lovingly now known as Meat, and former U.S. teammate Jeff Cameron. And you proved that there's a lot left in the tank, leading your team to the quarterfinals. What are some of the key differences between that brand of soccer and playing for Team USA in the arena?
Yeah, I think that was my second year at TST, so I had a little better rhythm. There's no walls, so I guess it's just mini version of what I'm used to. And yeah, I mean, Stefan and the other indoor guys definitely helped with teaching us how to sub, and really enforced during the target time. They specialize. We joked on our team, target time, that's when the arena boys shine. So we put them on the field and let them do their thing, and they sure did. And I'm pretty confident if we could put the squad again together next year with the same guys and add a few and everyone's injury free, I think we could make a real run at it.
Okay, I came across a clip of you on Instagram that showed you getting tripped against the Hoosier Army, and you were all riled up about it, very competitive. Now, to me, it's indicative that you still have that fire in there. So tell me now, how have you transitioned that competitive spirit? Are you one of those like parents on the sidelines at gymnastics and everything, just talking trash the whole time?
No, I go to all the sporting events, but I don't say anything. I guess my competitiveness now goes in pickleball. I play pickleball at a pretty high level, and I play in tournaments and stuff like that. And so I guess that's where I get the juices flowing.
All right.
Pickleball exploding everywhere. You're starting to see it on national TV. I got to give this a shot. It's a heck of a lot more fun than golf. I figure I'll play golf when I'm retired and I can't move. Hopefully that's years from now. Now, Brek, you spoke to the LA Times before Sunday's game, and you were asked if you could see yourself playing in the Major Arena Soccer League. At the time, you said that nothing was off the table. Having now gotten a taste of it, I wonder, where's your head at with that? Is it something that you would continue to evaluate?
Yeah, I'm open to things, and after that game on Sunday, I kind of have a bad taste. Like I said, I did a lot more thinking than I did playing, and not knowing. I guess I have unfinished business. I would like to prove myself that I could play a little better and be an actual threat. So yeah, I feel like I have unfinished business. What does that mean? Where does that go? I have no idea. So we'll see.
Well, we love to hear that. Now, your career is not over, but looking back, you've had a lot of meaningful moments through MLS games and, the 2013 Gold Cup final. If you had to give me the best moment from your career to date, what would that be?
Oh, yeah, I don't know. That's kind of hard. Maybe in one of the biggest moments in that Gold Cup, we played a game and I got subbed at halftime by Jurgen, and I thought I'd never play again. The very next game, Jurgen subbed me in against Costa Rica, and I scored and pushed us through in that tournament. So to go from, like, I guess one of the lowest moments of my career to scoring my first international goal to push the U.S. through the group stage in that tournament, probably one of my favorite memories.
That's one I certainly remember. One for the record books. That's obviously why you are the legend that is Brek Shea. And as much as we love to continue to ask you questions about that, I know you've got that other job to do. The meter's running. We can't let the Uber fares continue to escalate with the kids. But on behalf of myself, Nina, and Tim over in Soccer at 60, our producer Gunner, just want to say thank you for spending the time with us today. I know you got better things to do than to hang out with us knuckleheads, but it was an honor getting to call your game this past Sunday, and fingers crossed, hopefully that competitive spirit that you have inside you doesn't just stay with pickleball, but maybe it comes into indoor soccer. So thanks again for your time, Brek.
Awesome. Thank you all. And it was awesome on Sunday. I had a great time again. So thank you guys, and have a great evening.
Well, that was fun.
That was super fun. What a great job, man. Pickleball and being an Uber driver.
Right? I mean, what career aspirations one would have during retirement? There was that one point, a lull towards the end where it got kind of silent. Brek's an important guy. He was getting phone calls on his phone. So that's the reason why it happened. It wasn't an internet scenario, but he was a little cryptic in what he was saying. Maybe we will see him in the Major Arena Soccer League. My fingers are crossed because at 34 years of age, he's got plenty left in the tank. When I stood by him pregame, I didn't realize how big and tall Brek Shea really was. So I hope to see him furthering his career.
Yeah, me too. That'd be great. And with that, let's hop over to Angel City. Amanda the Panda is going to join us and hang out with us and talk a little Angels. Angel City. Angel City. Oh, Amanda the Panda. There she is.
Oh my gosh, guys. I'm over here. My wheels are spinning. I have some breaking news from Angel City that I'm going to talk about in the middle of this segment. So, hope you listen to it because I'm going to have to circle back and get your guys' opinion on what is going on here and your thoughts on it because, just had to overhaul some of my notes and thoughts and stuff because of it. So either way, I have a lot to cover right now. So I need to get into this. We're going to talk about a game recap, a preview, and then, we got to get into playoff scenarios because, like I said, things have gotten shaken up within the last hour with some breaking news, but hang on to that thought because I don't want to quite get there yet. What I do want to talk about, though, is Angel City unfortunately losing at home 1-2 to the Washington Spirit on Friday, following goals by forwards Ashley Hatch and McKenna Morris, and then forward Messiah Bright scoring the lone goal for ACFC. This game, throughout the first 25 minutes, Washington had the Lions' share of chances, but Angel City did get their first chance of the game in the 29th minute. It was a free kick by forward Claire Emsley from the penalty arc. Emsley sent her shot through a gap in the Spirit wall, but goalkeeper Aubrey Kingsbury was there to block the shot for a corner kick. And then Washington is going to finally break through in the 39th minute when forward Ashley Hatch, she stole the ball from defender Megan Reed, carried it just a few short yards away into the penalty arc, and put it in the back of the net with a left-footed shot. Unfortunately, that was one turnover that was going to lead to a goal, and it would not be the only one in transition for Spirit. Now, Angel City did come out of the break swinging, earning a shot in the first minute of the second half. Emsley played a ball into the box that midfielder Kennedy Fuller got her head on, but she just could not redirect that goal into the goal. But Reed, who was lurking at the back post, connected with her foot and sent that attempt wide. We thought she was going to maybe get a little bit of revenge with that, but unfortunately that was not the case. Now, LA kept pushing with defender M.A. Vignola receiving a flick on by midfielder Madison Hammond, taking a left-footed shot in the 49th minute, but they would finally find their equalizer in the 51st minute with forward Alyssa Thompson, who has been red hot in the last several games. She sent a low cross after making some fun moves down the left-hand side, made its way into the left edge of the 6-yard box, and forward Messiah Bright, with all the composure in the world, was there making a well-timed run, who just lightly tapped the ball into the net from the top of the 6 with a single, very demure, very mindful touch. Now, in the 55th minute, on a transition play, Kouassi found Brown with a lateral pass across the top of the goal. Her one-touch shot was on frame, but Haracic, she dove, blocked it out for a corner kick that easily could have been the game winner in that moment. But unfortunately, Washington would notch the winner in the 78th minute. And it's on a transition play by way of a turnover where Kouassi sent a pass diagonally into the 18 to forward McKenna Morris. Herachich came off her line to claim the ball, but as she dropped to the ground, Morris had a cheeky little chip just over her and into the goal. That would be the game winner. Angel City would try to push over those final 10 minutes of regulation, including earning a chance in the 84th minute. But unfortunately, it would not be making any kind of difference in this matchup. Angel City's falling to the Spirit at home on a game that we needed some points. Final score 1-2. Shots on target even 5-on-5. We had much better pass accuracy than they did. Possession pretty much even. So again, Angel City not able to capitalize on the mistakes of the Spirit. Spirit pouncing on our mistakes right at the get-go and able to capitalize on those, having some goals. Now, I said at the beginning, we had some breaking news, and I have to say this because the way the standings were at the beginning of making my notes this morning, well, they're different now because we just got alerted that the NWSL has concluded an investigation into a salary cap violation by Angel City Football Club, and they are imposing disciplinary actions based on the findings. In a nutshell, there was some agreements included in a combination of compensation and benefits that were reflected in the standard player agreement and in excess benefits that were not reported or included in these agreements. And due to these undisclosed benefits, ACFC exceeded the salary cap by approximately $50,000 for 4 weeks during the 2024 season. Now, because of that, NWSL is very committed to upholding their integrity of these rules. And so this is what Angel City is going to be facing now. They're going to be facing a fine of $200,000 and a deduction effective immediately of 3 points from this season's standings. And Julie Ehrman and Angela Huclas-Magano, they are both suspended effective immediately from conducting anything related to player transactions for the remainder of the 2024 calendar year. That's huge. I mean, we already were kind of in a tight spot with playoffs. Every point was so crucial. And to have 3 points just taken away from this team, oh my gosh, I'm gutted for the team because they have probably no idea what's happening on this upper echelon of business transactions. They don't know. They're just playing their game. And now to have this gut punch, because if you looked at the standings this morning, we were actually above Seattle, who is going to be the opponent that we are facing tomorrow, Friday. And we were above them on the standings. And if you look at them now, we are actually below them. So I'm going to get into this real quick and then we'll kind of circle back. But next match tomorrow night, October 4th, we're going to be traveling to Seattle at 7:00 p.m. and the match will stream live on Prime Video. And, we have 12 points that are up for grabs between now and the end of the season. And it's absolutely crucial that we get all of them. I don't know that. I think if we lose this game against Seattle, I think that will mathematically eliminate us actually from playoffs. So this is super crucial against Seattle. And even though they're not having a great season, we have not had a good record against them. They have 3 wins, 1 draw, and we only have 1 win. Our last matchup was a home match against Seattle where we lost 3-2. Now there were 2 controversial goals that were called back, and that could have made all the difference. But Seattle is unbeaten in its 5 all-time home matches in all competitions against Angel City. So it's a tough place for us to play, but they're also on a 3-game losing streak. So anything could probably happen at this point. We know how this sport can go, but it is essential for Angel City to go up to Seattle and pull out 3 points however they need to. I think it's going to come by way of Alyssa Thompson. She's had a red hot streak, and we need her to step up. We need our defense to hold it down and try to prevent goals, because Angel City also, I forget the amount of games that they've had, but they have allowed a goal and scored a goal in the last 7 matches, and that is a record for that long of a streak. Now, I only have a few minutes left, and I really do want to kind of use this time to kind of talk a little bit more about this disciplinary action that's happening with Angel City, because it's so gut wrenching for players to see this. I mean, it's hard for them to have the motivation that they need to keep going when they're doing everything they can, and then to find out that things weren't, protocols were not followed and things were breached. So, you know what? Let's take this time. Let's bring the boys back. Let's talk to you, Tim, Philly. I want to know your thoughts on what I just told you.
Yeah, it's shocking. I mean, you've got a professional organization and you have people at the highest level that's their only job is to be looking at the day-to-day payroll, right? And so for 4 weeks, you're exceeding that payroll. That's really tough. And now, while it seems harsh, I think you said it exactly what it is. NWSL has to keep to those rules, and if that's the rules, they're going to hammer you, and as it should be.
I just want to get this straight. A $50,000 infraction led to a $200,000 fine and 3 points deduction. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yep, that's what you heard,
Cool.
and it was for 4 weeks. 4 weeks. So
we're gonna chalk that up as a mishap or a potential malicious endeavor. I can't imagine $50,000 would be something that was done maliciously. Big time repercussions. This had to have been an oversight.
I don't know. We're going to comb through this probably on our podcast, me and Nina on Angel City Chicks. So, pop on over there if you want to talk about this a little more, get your thoughts out. But either way, that's all I've got. Big game tomorrow night. Every game is crucial. So let's hope that they can pull out a win up in the Northwest. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Amanda. Yeah, that's pretty harsh, but, sometimes the rules are the rules, and that's what's going to happen. So with that, Nina or Panda will be back with us in a few minutes, but let's hop over to Orange County, Philly. This was, we didn't have any games, but after 3 straight results, the County boys got to take last weekend off and got a couple of really well-deserved rest. Coach Danny Stone has these guys playing at a different level since he's taken over. They're back at it this weekend, and they take on the local rivals in the Las Vegas Lights, and they're going to be up in Vegas. So if the weather here is hot, you can only imagine what it's going to be like in Vegas. So the boys better hydrate because it's going to be a hot one. Now, Vegas is coming off of a home win against Phoenix. But with the extra rest and developing more in Coach Stone's system and 2 wins in the last 3 games, I think they're going to be prepared for this. Vegas has always played well. They're a couple's ticks above, they sit just 1 point out of 7th with the Phoenix loss and just 5 shy of Oakland Roots, who are sliding down the standings. Oakland has had a tough run of it lately. And so even with Vegas on a pretty good roll lately with 3 wins and 2 draws in their last 5 and sitting 4th in the West, the County boys could go into Vegas and make a strong showing of it and jump over Phoenix in the standings. And if they can do that, it's one step closer to having New Mexico not have to play them here in the early parts of the playoffs. They play strong at home with results in 12 of their 15 home matches. So the County boys have got a hard row to hoe, but they're going to get after it. So, and before we catch up with you guys again here on Soccer in 60, Orange County also has a game next Wednesday at the Champ in Irvine as they take on the Colorado Switchbacks. Colorado is playing really well. They're sitting in 3rd place as of today in the West. And while they have drawn their last 2 games, they do have 3 wins in their past 5 to go with those 2 draws. So again, they're unbeaten in their last 5. So the next couple of games are really, really going to be important for Orange County in their playoff push. Colorado is led by Ronaldo Damas with 12 goals and by goalkeeper Christian Herrera, who's got 8 clean sheets. However, the County boys are countering that with goal leader Ethan Zubak, who has been playing just amazing soccer over the last couple of weeks. He's got 8 goals on the season, and Colin Shuttler is killing it with 9 clean sheets on the season. They don't call him Shutout Shuttler for nothing. So expect this one to be a really, really good game in the heat of Vegas, but it's going to be great. As long as they keep up with that revitalized defensive structure, that's going to be the key to this match for the County boys, to really getting after it and keeping up what they've done over the last 3 games. They can keep that defensive structure. They're going to be really in good shape against both Vegas and the Switchbacks. And with that, they can climb as high as 6 in the standing with a couple of wins over the next week or so. So with that, let's hop back over to Amanda the Panda, and we can get into LA's best 11 over the last week or so.
All right, guys. Yeah, let's do it. We had a lot of fun things happening this past week, so I'm going to jump right into it. In goal, we've got Hugo Lloris for LAFC for his game back on October 2nd, which was yesterday. Defender Ryan Hollingshead, LAFC for October 2nd. Carl, oh my goodness, guys. Need to reset. Carlos Garces for LA Galaxy, M.A. Vignola for Angel City. And then in the midfield, we have Ricky Puig for LA Galaxy, who's also captaining this LA's best 11 squad. We've got Mark Delgado for LA Galaxy, Omar Campos and Lewis O'Brien, both from LAFC for 928. And then, of course, our forwards, we've got Denny Bwanga earning his honors for LAFC for both games on the 928 and 10-2. And then David Martinez earning his spot on this week's LA's best 11 for his performance in the game on 928. And then Gabrielle Peck for LA Galaxy. So let's run through these just a little bit. We've got Angel City honoree M.A. Vignola. She had a great game. She won 5 tackles. She had 6 clearances and 5 interceptions. And while we could give it to Messiah Bright for scoring the only goal of the game, M.A. has been impressive lately, holding down that back line for Angel City. Now over to LAFC, the man with 19 goals on the season, Denny Bwanga, continues to push for Golden Boot, currently in 2nd place. Now, Denny scored against Cincinnati and St. Louis this week, and just last night had an incredible 94% pass accuracy. Now on to the defensive side for LAFC, Hugo Lloris kept his 11th clean sheet in 30 regular season games, and he now leads MLS and has set a new LAFC record for shutouts in a season. His 11 shutouts leave him tied with Maxime Crepeau for the 2nd most all-time in LAFC history, and only Tyler Miller has more with 19 in an LAFC shirt. Now, last but certainly not least, this week's captain and LA Galaxy honors goes to Ricky Puig, who had 2 goals this week and 13 passes into the final third and 8 accurate long balls. Now, what stands out to me about Puig is while he has 2 goals, he also only has 2 touches in the opposition box. So he is creating space for himself and has such an awareness on the pitch. And so we have to give him this week's honors. Pretty stacked LA's best 11 if you ask me. Guys, what do you think about this week's lineup?
No question about it. Hugo Lloris, 11th clean sheet in 30 regular season games, doing his thing, leading Major League Soccer. Not bad for a person that some people ventured to say should put him out to the pasture. He's done. He's had a fantastic time with LAFC, but a lot of that is credited to the back line. Denny Bwanga, Panda, you mentioned a lot of great things about him as far as what he's done, but he's got an MLS best, 9 game-winning goals on the season as well, and that's tied for the most game-winning goals by any LAFC player in a single season and tied for 3rd most in Major League Soccer history. The thing that stands out to me the most, Omar Campos. Omar Campos typically would play the defender spot, but with Steve kind of tinkering with the lineup for LAFC, you'd see a different formation with the 3-4-3s. And ever since Omar Campos scored that goal midweek against Sporting Kansas City, he's just been operating on a whole different level. It was tough for him coming into Major League Soccer at first. A lot of opposing teams' forwards, they would attack Omar Campos' side because he's just kind of getting a lay of the land. But he's been playing a lot better lately, and I completely agree with his addition to that LA's best 11.
Yeah, and I like what you're saying about Omar Campos shoring up that midfield. He's got that defensive mindset that brings to the midfield a little bit more of the ability to shut down those forwards a little bit quicker that you're not always seeing with some midfielders. And then to your point with Hugo Lloris, just absolutely crushing it this year. Put out to pasture, not in this town. I mean, he's come in and he's made such a difference with how he gets the ball out after he makes the save, and just making some saves that the keepers that LAFC has had previously that just would not be able to make. I do have to touch on the forwards with Gabriel Peck. I mean, the guy he's just decimating defenses over the past month. There's not a chance that any of these guys in the first couple of rounds of the playoffs are going to be able to stop him, just because he's in such good form. He's in such great health. And for him to keep going on, it's going to be really, really strong for the Galaxy to keep that up for the rest of the season and into the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, I think another thing we also need to mention, I mean, we also list on here our super subs, and one of those being Alyssa Thompson. She certainly should have and could have made this list. She's had such a great performance as of late. I mean, her assist on Friday against Washington was her 11th goal contribution this regular season, and only Trinity Rodman has recorded more goal contributions as a teenager in an NWSL regular season. So, got to give it up to her. She is she's found her form. I think it took a little longer this season than she would have liked, but once she did, she's really been phenomenal in just her execution and her passing and her ability to score goals. So, definitely can't leave that name without, or, talk about this list without mentioning her name as well.
Real quick, and Lewis O'Brien coming in from on loan. He didn't have a preseason. Him coming in, hitting the ground running, he's done well. And obviously Ryan Holling said, fear the stash. That's all I got to say about that.
Yeah. All right. And let's catch everybody, we're on KMET 1490 AM. Catch us on Spotify, catch us on Apple, and everywhere else you can catch us on, get your podcast. Just search Soccer in 60, and we're going to pop right up at the top of that. Nobody else has got even close to our name. So just search Soccer in 60 if you want to catch that Brek Shea interview again, or go back and listen to some prior podcasts, some prior recordings of the show. With that, everybody, hey, Panda, it's been great. Philly the Flamingo today. Nina, Gunner,